Hello and welcome to The Lab, a Minecraft podcast where we explore, experiment, and theorize about all things Minecraft. I am MinerThoughts, and with me is my co-host, my brother from down under, the Troj. How are you, Troj?
Recovering from last weekend's subathon, 22 hours of live stream straight into work the next day. So it's been a week, but otherwise we're doing all right. How are you?
I'm tired. I'm glad the weekend is here, and I'm glad I'm not working this weekend because after this recording, I'm gonna sleep.
I may go back for a nap. It's almost lunchtime here, but I may nap. It's been a week. Plus, winter. You can probably see, but I'm wearing a hoodie. Winter has arrived here in Australia.
Can we trade, because we've got nothing but humidity, and it's like I'm underground and it's nice. It's 10 degrees cooler than what's outside. People from the use Celsius, you can do the conversion, but it's like 80 and 90 degrees Fahrenheit. But underground, it's like 10 to 15 degrees cooler. So anytime I have to come up to the surface, I can't wait to get back underground because I yearn for the mines.
You yearn for the mines as a child. No, we got a double polar blast coming through at the moment down from Antarctica, and probably every 5 years or so, it doesn't snow where I live, but there's a chance about 2 hours south. If it's going to snow in my state, not much, but that's where it will be. It's got to have the right conditions. Got to be very cold, obviously, and there's a chance for Monday, so it's going to get blinking cold here for us Aussies.
Yeah, well, I mean, see, snow in Australia, you just don't think, is that possible?
Well, we got two Alps. I know this is not Minecraft, but we got two Alps areas. So you got down in Victoria. Well, there's three. Sorry. So you got Tasmania, which is a little island down the bottom. It snows almost year round down there because it's actually very close to Antarctica. Right. So in down there, you can get snow in summertime on the mountains. That's not unusual. Then you've got the Alps in Victoria, which are the mountains which snow. That's one of the snowfields. And then you got something called the Snowy Mountains. We're very original. In New South Wales, which sort of snows through that area. But that's really it when it comes to it. But there are the highest place in Australia is a place called Gyra, which is about 8 hours south of me. Again, it's so far north that it doesn't always snow, but it gets very cold. And if you get the right conditions, probably about every 5 years or so, you'll get a polar blast will come up and it'll dump probably about 3 to 5 centimeters of snow in that area. Fortunately, the last 2 times that it's happened, it's coincided on a weekend. So we've gone snow chasing and found it both times, which is good. So that's the only time the kids have seen snow. So this time, though, it's on a Monday, so we'll miss it, but it's going to get cold.
Well, Snowy Mountains, that sounds very Minecraft, like someone from Mojang named it. Snowy Mountains.
Yeah, the Snowy Mountains. That's true, but that's what it's called. It's called the Snowy Mountains. Like, if you look on the map, there's nothing called the Snowy Mountains. It's called like Perisher, Threadbow, whatever the name of the places, but colloquially, it's all known as that's the Snowy Mountain.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, and it is true because I've got I inherited my uncle's car when he passed on, and he had a keychain on there with Snowy Mountains. So it is real. I'm not making this up. But speaking of Mojang and Minecraft naming things, the next drop has actually been named.
Yes. It had to be something to do with being in the skies. So we got Chase the Skies.
Chase the Skies. Yeah. I'd still like there to have been like a floating island biome or something introduced.
Yeah. I mean, you have two different camps with this one. A lot of people say, oh, this is like a fully fleshed out drop. We got a lot, and then there's the other side. It's like, wow, this is pretty bare. Um,
But that's the thing, though.
I don't
It's a
know.
drop. It's not an update. It's a drop. So I
Yeah,
get why
yeah,
you
yeah,
wouldn't have like a new biome come in. But the fact that we're getting, and obviously the first feature and the biggest feature is the Happy Ghast. The fact that we're getting that makes me hope that in the next update, we get a floating island, because that would make sense to why they'd be introducing a Happy Ghast into the game.
there was the rumored, actually putting in something like the Aether from King B Dogs, so it makes sense, if they do something like that. I'm sure people already have grand plans of building floating city, BioShock Infinite in the skies.
Yeah, and airship like hangar bays and stuff like that. Like
Yeah.
it screams that out. But
Mhm.
let's talk about the Happy Gas, because that's the first feature, really, the one that's known for. I still think it looks incredibly out of place. It's so
Yeah.
derpy looking, and like I know Minecraft's not underpy, but we talked about it when we first saw it. It was like, this thing's got a saddle with stirrups. What is riding this thing that it needs stirrups?
Yeah. I mean, it looks good up to the point to where you put the saddle on, and then it's got goggles and stirrups, and if that could be an option, I'm sure there's going to be people that do resource packs or whatever to change that, uh just ways to make it look different and still have the functionality. I'm sure that's going to come about.
But overall, my question though is, okay, they've obviously wanted to introduce a rideable mount. Sorry, a
Hmm.
flyable mount. That's fine. I find it interesting that they've gone with a repurposed version of a mob we've already got, as opposed to introducing something new. It just seems like to me, it just seems like an odd choice to give us a good Ghast as opposed to the bad Ghast. Like, it's an
Right.
interesting decision for me.
I know it might be a stretch, but I kind of feel like it might be a slight tie-in to the Minecraft movie, because they had the ghasts in the overworld. So, and the piglins riding them or using them to as transport.
Yeah, that's true. That's a fair call.
So,
Yeah, it ties into that, I guess.
yeah. So I don't know. The, the thing is you never can predict what Mojang will do, whether it's a drop or an update. You got people predicting it, spreading rumors, putting it on their tinfoil hats and picking everything apart. And then when it comes time for them to announce a drop or announce a feature, it's way out of left field.
Yeah, well, we've
I
discussed clickbaiting before, but that's what that's
Yeah,
about. Yeah, but
but I just I didn't expect it. I really didn't expect it.
no, um, but I think having a flyable mount, regardless of what it looks like and what mob they chose and whatever, it's good. It's going to make
Mhm.
building in the sky a lot easier. I've heard someone say, "Oh, it's going to replace scaffolding." I don't think it will, as such. I think
No.
not fully as much, but it's going to make early game transport is going to be revolutionized.
Mhm.
Finding your first elytra is going to be like goodbye bridging in the end. That's
Oh
gone.
yeah.
It's done. No one will be doing that ever again. Um, so I've got no problem with that at all. I think that's actually not bad. I think
Mhm.
it's definitely going to change the way people play that early game transport. The fact you can put a boat underneath it with leashes, and
Yeah.
transport mobs. You know, transporting villages now. If you don't want to live near a village, you want to live somewhere else. You put a couple of villages in a boat, fly them to where you want to go. Happy days.
Do you think that's maybe them moving toward implementing the villager rebalance?
I think so. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I think it's part of that bigger picture of moving that way. And you know, we talked about that villager rebalance, and you know, even within our own Interrealms community, people were up in arms about it. I was actually on the flip side of that thing. This is actually, I understand it, and I think it's a good thing. It's gonna make it harder for people. They just can't go to one village and just set everything up and get everything they want. They've got to actually work for it. But
Yeah.
if you have, yeah,
Go ahead.
I was going to say, if you look at all the recent drops and updates and whatever, one big feature of it is exploration, getting out into the world, and this Happy Ghast is making that easier.
But also, and what I was just going to say, with the changes in leashes, that's a real game changer right there. You know, you're not going to have to do one at a time. You can chain several boats with several villagers in and almost do your whole villager transport in one shot.
Yeah, and not only that, you can leash. Well, let's talk about leashes since we've moved on to there. So first of all, they've changed the recipe, so you don't need slime anymore. It's just string,
Right.
which is great. You know, I having just joined the Twitch SMP, you're coming in halfway through a season, you're right behind the 8 ball, and you're trying to play quick catch up. And I didn't have any leashes to move things around with. I hadn't come across the trader that gives you leashes. We won't mention how, but I hadn't had any yet, and I hadn't found any slime, so I couldn't make leashes. Now it's just string, so that's going to make leashes way more accessible. And it's like this update has really looked at that early game, the struggles that players have in the early game, and try to combat them. So better leashing, able to move things around better, travel easier, move your villages easier, travel across to get your wings easier. I think there's a lot of thought that goes into these changes that we've got. But I even think, like with the leashes, the fact you can leash basically anything to anything is also going to be good for builders. Because, you know, we used to once have to hide a chicken in a wall and put a leash to it to make it look like rope and that. Now we can just leash to things, and that's a good change. The leash changes is good. I really like it.
There are different applications, you know, transporting villagers, mobs. That's one of those things that I love about this drop. And then, you know, because you need a saddle to use these Happy Ghast, they also changed the saddle recipe.
Well, they didn't just change a saddle recipe; they gave you a recipe. You never been able to craft them before.
That's true. Seeing the short, like, no more do you have to use saddles like this, you know, beating up Ravagers. Now you could just craft them.
But again, that's early game thing, because now you can grab a horse. Like when you first come into the game, you can now grab a horse and make a saddle, as opposed to finding a dungeon, slapping around a Ravager, or where else can you get them? I think you can get them in like desert temples or stuff like that. Grab a horse, make a saddle, go. And I think, again, a lot of this stuff I think is going to become redundant in late game.
Right.
But it's really focusing on the early game, I think, where it's going to be useful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Early game exploration, you know, but also with the builder and you know, the builder in mind, the people that like to do the villager trading hall. And, you know, most of the time when I'm dealing with villagers, I'm transporting them in mine carts. but I think, with the leash mechanics and the happy gas, it's all connected, but it's going to help out.
And I think too, like you've got the now maybe I'm not familiar with this yet, but you find the dried ghast in the
Mhm.
nether, or you make it or whatever. Then you got to rehydrate it. Does it grow up, or can you keep it set at a like? Okay, it's at this stage where it just floats around as a little baby ghast. Is that something? Can you keep it at that level, or does it just grow up?
No, once you start hydrating it, um, it once you start hydrating it, it's on a timer, like a 20-minute timer, I believe, where it grows into, like, I guess, the teenage version, and then it finally becomes the full gassed. What is the middle stage? Is the gastling?
Yeah, I'm looking at it now on the Minecraft thing, a ghastling, whatever. And it says, feed it lots of snowballs until it becomes a happy ghast.
Hmm.
So,
Also, the
yeah, so it might stay as that until you feed it. So, by
oh,
the
okay.
looks, by leave it in water, and you'll start to see this little block transform and become happier and happier until it finally becomes a ghastling. Did you think I was going to say a happy ghast? Not yet. Your ghastling will need a bit more love and care before you can soar through the skies. Feed it lots of snowballs until it becomes a happy ghast. And then you and up to 4 friends can officially start your side hustles as overworld pilots, chartering flights far and wide. So, there's a way to bring some movement and life to a build, if it fits. Just have a few happy ghasts, not happy ghasts, gastlings. Just
Hmm. One
or
thought
leash it,
comes
and you've
to
got your own little balloon.
can can you leash a gasling? Let us know in the comments.
I don't know. I haven't played with any of the snapshots, so I have no idea.
No, it's funny because this podcast was born of the snapshots
Eh.
and talking about the snapshots. Um, but it's grown into something else. But yeah, I haven't played with snapshots as well. I just kind of watch the things that come out, and then there's a couple different YouTubers I watch that talk about what's included. Sly Slime being the biggest one.
I only watch the Zoomer, and he gives it
Yeah.
usually a very good, succinct, no rubbish um, take on what is released. So yeah, it's usually where I'll watch. I won't play with the snapshot, but I'll watch when he puts out a "This is what's been announced." Yeah, I'll sort of look with that. The next part was the player locator bar, and it actually replaces when someone else is in your world. It replaces your XP bar.
Yeah. Unless you're getting XP, it'll show that, and it then it'll revert back to the locator bar.
I hope that's toggleable.
It is, but only for administrators,
Because
server administrators.
I was going to say it for certain game modes it would suck.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but also even on like a server, if you're trying to play a prank on somebody, it's going to make it harder to achieve that in stealth mode. Like if you're going to
Yeah,
try and
see that.
sneak up to someone and be invisible, like it's going to be hard because you got the locator bar.
Yeah, seeing with I'm not sure if the prank war is still going. I haven't uh listened to it yet, but they just did the drop the May recap, and it seems that the shopping district now, so they're moving away from the pranks, but yeah, I think as a communities are going to have to decide, is that something that they want or not, and for admins, they're not going to want to have to turn it on and off and on and off a lot. So
Players that don't want to be found with the locator can crouch to remain undetected. Okay, that answers that one, but still, then you got to crouch all the time. But yeah, I don't know. I understand the reasoning for it again, but I hope it's toggleable. So, and then the last two bits is we got another music disc coming.
I love this. I love this music.
I haven't heard it. I have not listened to
No
it yet.
way.
No, I haven't heard it yet.
You've got to listen to it. It's not Leanna Rain, is it? I'm not sure if I'm pronounced the one that does Pig Step.
Mm.
She also did Creator.
Yep.
Which I really like, but this is right up there with it. I think Pig Step is still the best disc out there, but this one seems like it's going to be really easy to get because you get it from Killing Ghasts, like not the happy kind, the angry kind.
It shouldn't be too hard then.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's it called? This music disc?
Tears.
Tears.
Makes
sense because it's dropped from it. Yeah, makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Perfect sense.
But it's a fun little song.
Fair enough.
I really like it. You have to listen to it after this.
I will, 100%. And the last thing is vibrant visuals coming to basically vanilla shaders coming to Bedrock first, then Java.
Mm-hmm.
From what I've seen, it for a vanilla shader thing, it actually looks pretty good.
I don't know how to feel about it because I've never been one use shaders. I haven't met a shader I've liked yet. like 100% really liked. And it seems like sometimes people use a combination of a couple of either shaders or resource packs. Or texture packs that make it look a little better, but I don't know.
See,
I'm on the fence on that one.
My computer can't really handle the whole shader things at the moment. It tends to go, no, thank you. But when it was able to handle shaders, I was running complementary. Most recent one is complementary Unbound, which, if you set it right, looks actually really nice. But I've currently moved. I can't remember what it's called off the top of my head. But for screenshots now, I've moved to a different shader just for the screenshots. And yeah, I'd like to see the comparison to Vibrant Visuals. But overall, it's interesting to see that they're taking a lot of stuff that comes from mods and bringing that into the vanilla experience.
Yeah.
So forever, shaders has been basically a Java modded exclusive. Right. Now we're getting it into Bedrock. So is it a case of less reason to have Java because you can get mods in the mod stuff that you guys are using over there in Java? You're getting it in Bedrock anyway. Is that the ultimate plan? We've sort of laid that theory a couple of times. Is that the ultimate plan?
And one thing I do like about it is, and I'll go back to Java shaders. One thing that I don't like about a lot of Java shaders is like light sources, torches, or shroom lights, or they all have this, yellowish tint to it. It gives everything like kind of like just yellow.
You can adjust that though on shaders.
I know, but I can't be bothered.
See, I can't with shaders. I'm sort of agree with your comment. Out of the box, I haven't found a shader that I've liked. In that you just install it and it just looks good. I've always had to go in and adjust the settings and make it how I like it. So I agree with that comment to a degree.
But with this vibrant visuals, and I'm sure there's a Java shader that does this, but I haven't seen it yet, is if you're using like a soul torch, it's giving everything kind of a blue hue to it, from the light that's being given off. Or if it's a redstone torch, it's given kind of a red hue. And
Yeah, there's some of the more newer shade. That's not a new thing. Some of the newer
oh, okay.
shaders out have done. You can have. I think complementary unbound can do that. You can have colored, whatever the color of the light source is, will put that generally
Oh, okay.
that light out, and it doesn't just extend to the light sources too. It's like the different ores, because in some of the shaders, ores will be lit up, so you might get the colors are associated with ores too that you think of will give a different color too. But yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah. So I don't know. We'll see. I probably still won't play with the shaders or vibrant visuals on, but that's just me.
Yeah, and that is toggleable, so that I think is a good thing. They're not forcing it on anybody. Yeah, but no, that's really the update though. That's everything.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah.
that's the drop. I've got to be very careful.
Drop.
It's very different. Different things. Drops and updates are different.
Yeah, and there's still, you know, the hope for an end update, but like I just quickly mention your. I really liked your solo endeavor, your solo episode, because you brought out a lot of good points. Inventory. Please do something with inventory next. Anything. Even if it's a backpack. I love the backpack idea. Or the extra row. Yeah.
The extra row would have, because I think I said that in that episode. It was, I'm making a custom mountain at the moment, and up close it's a block vomit. It's designed to be seen from the whole B-dubs effect. Look at it from
a distance.
But up close, there is so much block variation. I could really, really use one extra row in my tree. It is like, even though we're using the item swapper mod that Azuma champions, it's not enough. It's not enough space. So, yeah, something needs to be done. Inventory and the end. But I think you're going to see that in an update, not a drop.
Yeah, the end has to be the end update, but I don't think anybody would complain if they said the next drop, the winter drop, we're going to concentrate on inventory. So
it's almost like they don't know how to fix it.
Well, every time someone says, well, we wish we could get this, or we'd like this or that, I think, okay, easy to do on Java. Someone could come up with it or make a mod for it. But then I'm like, okay, how's this going to work on Bedrock? How's it going to work on your phone? But at the same time, the way Mojang thinks, maybe they're just doing some. This is like quirky and fun. So, maybe not inventory this time.
Who knows? Who knows? But I know what I would love is I'd love to hear what people's thoughts are about the Chasing Skies update.
Yeah.
Would really love to see, of our thoughts on the money. Do we agree with you? Would like to know. And if they do want to let us know, Miner, how would they do such a thing?
Well, I want to ask the viewers or listeners, leave a comment, or if you're watching the video, leave a comment on what you're going to do with the Happy Guest. Are you going to use it for building? Are you going to use it for PvP, transporting villagers? Let us know down in the comments. And you can do that by commenting here on the YouTube video, or you can send us an email at minecraftlabpodcast@gmail.com, or you can reach us over on the socials at Twitter X at mclab_podcast, or on Blue Sky at labmcpodcast. And then all these links and more can be found on the Interim's SMP website. If you want to go straight to the podcast, it's podcast.interrealmssmp.com.
But yeah, I think, Miner, maybe you need to do a subathon to raise some money to raise some money for a new chair, because YouTube viewers, I don't know if you have been noticing it, but go back to the start of the video and compare it to now, and Miner's positioning. I've been watching him slowly during this recording, slowly but surely, get smaller and smaller and smaller. Yeah, maybe it's time for a subathon, Miner. Just a small one. Just do like a 20-hour one. Just a small one.
No. I would end up doing maybe 6 hours of streaming, and then I'll do the big time streamer thing where I sleep the other half.
Very fair. But no, nice. We haven't got. I don't think we've got a date yet for the Chasing Skies, but it is literally just around the corner. We're getting pre-releases, so it won't be far off.
Yep, it's the summer drop, so we're in summer. He's in winter.
Indeed. And this might be one of those updates, though, Miner, where you might see server admins going, it's time to update. Because, you put this together with the previous one, and there's a decent amount of content there.
If you made it to the end of the video, no spoilers, but there is talk about future plans.
Oh, for World 5?
Yes.
For us, yes, there is. There 100% is. But for a minute there, I thought you were going to do a nice segue into promoting again July 4th. You and I doing the Hot Ones Challenge live on Twitch.
Speaking of big plans, big hot plans.
It's going to be a hot time in the old town tonight.
It's a good thing you're in winter. You'll have to go find some of that snow to cool off. July 4th, mark your calendars. Mark your calendars. If you're here in the U.S., you know what July 4th is. But we're going to take the opportunity, or I'm going to take the opportunity for that long weekend. I don't know what he's got planned, but
recovery.
We're going to do the Hot Ones Challenge.
And we want questions. So if you guys have got questions that you would like us to answer during the Hot Ones Challenge, it can be Minecraft related, it can be real world related, anything. As an example, one of the questions that have come through in the past, name a who is a content creator that either you've watched or collabed with that's inspired you in some way, and how were you inspired? Great question. And so if you've got something, email it, leave a comment below. Something, we want lots of questions. At least one for every source. So please give us something to distract ourselves from the pain we're about to enjoy.
We need at least 10. One for each wing.
With that though, Miner, it's been a pleasure, and I guess we'll talk to you next week.
This has been a production of the Interrealms Podcast Network. For more information, go to podcast.interrealmssmp.com. You can see that full link in the description of this episode. Thank you for listening.